LeDavid, Adonai, Roi lo echsar. A Psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou prepare a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai mi'agur bo alecha mi'yishkon bar kodshecha. The Psalm of David, do we deserve to enter God's sanctuary? Can we merit a place in the presence of God? Live with integrity, do what is right. Speak the truth without deceit. Have no slander upon your tongue, do no evil to others. Do not mistreat your neighbor. Then make these deeds your own, then shall you stand firm forever. L'kol zman ve'ed, l'chol chayfetz tachat hashamayim, eid laledet ve'ed lamut. A season is set for everything, a time for every experience under heaven. A time for planting and a time for reaping, a time for keeping and a time for discarding. A time for loving and a time for hating. A time for embracing and a time for refraining. A time for slaying and a time for healing, a time for laughing and a time for weeping, a time for dancing and a time for wailing, a time for birthing and a time for dying, a time for speaking and a time for silence, a time for seeking and a time for losing. So we have lost Dina Sima, Bat Shimon v'Yehudit, known to us as Doris Magrum, survived by her daughters, Noreen, Lauren, Gail, and Cheryl, and Joseph and Richard, who became her sons. Her grandchildren, Daniel, Brian, and Sean, and we remember Eric, and Jennifer, who became a granddaughter, and great-grandchildren, Shane, Kayla, Emma, and Mason, and all those who knew her and whose lives were made brighter and secure by the love of her embrace. Doris was born in New York 92 years ago. Completes her journey on earth as we lay her today in the sacred ground next to her husband Herbert. Can't see because we had to cover it here with the earth. They shared 62 years of marriage and will now share eternity together. Doris was, of course, loved her children, her grandchildren, her great-grandchildren, adoring and loving matriarch, and I think Sean will say a few words.
So when I was told Grandma passed away, I started to think of all my memories of her. My favorite ones of me and her at the dinner table talking, and asking her about her life when she was younger, and me trying to give her a weird question or giving a funny response back that we could both laugh at. She always said she wanted to be a mother, and it showed because it always felt like she had unconditional love for everyone. But she was always proud to be our grandmother. have those conversations with her anymore. But I try to I think we're privileged and we were lucky to have so many years with her. You know, and I'm gonna miss her. I love her. She was here now.
Memory. The barn is a blessing. There are two mitzvot, two commandments incumbent upon us when we lose a loved one. Two observances, that of mourning and that of burial. And for mourning, Cheryl will now ask you to repeat after me the ancient words, and then we're going to tear the ribbon, which is our most ancient sign of mourning. It symbolizes a part of our lives and is torn from us. Repeat after me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam dayan ha'emet. Praise you, O Lord our God, the true judge. Adonai natan Adonai lakach. Yehi Shem Eloheinu barach. The Lord gives, the Lord takes. Praise be God's name. In turn now, the second observance is said is the ritual of burial. I also placed a small box in here with old prayer books. Prayer books in the Torah are inscribed with the name of God, and we believe we are created in the God as well. And just as the bodies do not last forever, neither do sacred books. They're both treated with dignity and respect at the end of their service. I will say the memorial prayers, and then starting with Cheryl, will each take a shovel and shovel in the grave to show that we're buried by those who loved us and not by strangers. Atzur Tamim Polo Ki Chol Rechav Mishpat El Emunah Ve'ina Ve'tzadik Ve'yasherhu Atzur Tamim B'Chopal Miyamala Matifal Ashalit B'Mater B'Ma'amemit V'Chaye Morid Shol Ve'yal Atzur Tamim B'Chol Maseh Miyamar Lo Mataseh Ha'omer V'Yosef Chesed Kinam Lanu Taseh U'Vizkut Nekad Gesei Akshiva Ve'asei Tzadik V'Chol Rechav Atzur Tamim Melech Hapayim U'Maleh Rachamim Chamal Nebuchus Nalavod Devanim Kilecha Adon Aslichot Verachamim Tzadik Ata Adonai Lahamitu Lach Yodesh Ter B'Yadcha Bikton Kol Ruchot Chalila Lecha Zichonenu Limchot V'Yunai Necha Verachamim Aleinu Pegulchot Kilecha Adon Arachamim V'Aslichot Adamim Ben Shanai Olev Shanim Yichya Ma Yitron Lo Kelo Haya Yihya Baruch Dayana Emet V'Midu Mechayei Baruch Hu Ki Amedino Meshotei Zakol Beino Meshalem Nadam Cheshbono V'Dino V'Kol Yishmo Hodaya Yiteinu Yadanu Adonai Tzitzedek Mishpatecha Tzitzok V'Davrega V'Zka B'Shavtecha Ve'ein Laher Echad Midat Shavtecha Tzadik Ata Adonai V'Yashar Mishpatecha Dayana Emet Shovet Tzedek V'Yemet Baruch Dayana Emet Shakol Mishpatecha Tzedek V'Yemet Nefesh Kol Chai B'Yadecha Tzedek V'La Yiminecha Rachem Al B'Tatzon Yadecha V'Tom Al Melech Eref Yadecha Gadol Eitzav Rav Alila Asher Necha B'Chuchod Al Kol Darchei B'nei Adam Latei V'Ish Kidracha V'Chiprim Alalav La'akid Ki Ashar Adonai Tzuri V'Lo Avlat Tabo Adonai Natan V'Adonai Lakach Yehi Shem Adonai Mevorach Urachu Mikavam V'Lo Yashkid V'Abal Yeshiva Po V'Lo Ye'ir Kol Chomato Amali Rachamim, exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and the pure. To the soul of Dina Sima Bat Shimon V'Yehudit, known to us as Doris Magram, who has gone to her eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. May she rest in peace. And let us say Amen. El Malei Rachamim שוכן במרומים אמצעי מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה במעלת קדושים וטהרים כזו רקיע מזהירים אדוני ישמע דין הסימה מרשים על מיוחדין שלך לידמה בגני יינן תהי מנוחתו אנא בעל רחמים אסיריה ושא את כנפיך לעולם יהים וצרור בצרור החיים אדוני ישמע אותה אדוני נחלתה ותנוח בשלום על משכבה ונאמרה